So I have to be perfectly honest, it does, in fact, suck to be a fake manga fan. That's something I've been my whole life. I've been someone who says that I like manga, that I love it, that I think it's the best thing ever, but I just don't read it. And at least I don't read it in the amounts I would love to. Partly the reason why is I just watch a ton of anime, so that kind of displaces the need for manga. But also I have that kind of brain dysfunction that a lot of people are going through right now, but it's kind of a mixture of like low attention span with, I guess, the frequent need to distract yourself, and it's hard to just pull away and go into those quiet spaces where you just want to rip through chapters and go deep into a story. I consider myself a reader, I just don't read as much as I would like to. So in 2023, I started to read more manga. I was buying it off the shelf, it was expensive. I don't like being a hoarder. I don't like a big, crazy bookshelf of manga. I think it's cool when other people do it, but I switched to digital in 2024. But the problem is I bought a tablet that was like a 12-inch tablet. It was basically a pizza box, and I didn't like it. Also, those attention span issues and distraction issues with technology crept back into my life. Long story short, I sold that tablet. I got a different one. I started getting back into manga. I learned how to read digitally, how to tweak the settings, get the blue light filter down, get the dimming where it needs to be, so my eyes are super comfortable, so the page looks great on the screen. I'm in love with digital manga. I'm in love with digital reading. I came in hard 2025. The number of chapters I read this year is probably nothing compared to the numbers of chapters you read, but for me, it felt like a lot, and I connected with 4 series this year. 4 series really feel special and feel different. I've been reading some mainstream stuff too, like Chainsawman, Call of the Night, The Promised Neverland. I'll get to those kind of at the end, but I want to talk about 4 series that really surprised me and reminded me that manga's like crazy special. It's so good, it's so addictive. Before I get started, there's a couple things. I use snippets from manga edits from various places I found on YouTube. Just creators that made cool edits for the series that I like. I took little chunks, popped them in this video. So if you want to see the whole edits or find out about those creators, I'll try and provide links. Also, in terms of spoilers, this is a safety zone. We got our spoiler hats on, our hard hats. There is full safety in this environment. I will talk about vibes and tone and very, very surface level things, but I'm not going to say character X goes to place Y and thing Z happens. That's not what this video is about. So you're in a safety zone, but if you don't want to know like something is a little dark, you know, whatever that is, you've been warned. Akane-Banashi is a series that has real movement, like page by page. It just flows and it cooks and it progresses and it goes. And I love that. It is very addictive. Probably the most hooked I've been on a manga, maybe ever. That doesn't mean it's my favorite. That doesn't mean it's perfect, but it just means for me, I wanted more chapters immediately. And I had so much fun reading it and getting caught up. And I'm so excited that an anime is coming out in 2026. That's going to be one of the best shows of the year if they get it right. Who knows if they're going to get it right, but I have high hopes. It is not a slice of life. It might seem like it if you were to read the premise or just look at a bit of artwork. It's about a young girl who decides to enter the performing arts world of rakugo, which is solo storytelling on a pillow with a microphone, which by itself is a crazy art form. And I've been watching YouTube videos and I find rakugo extremely fascinating. But this manga is a shonen series. It's in Shonen Jump, if I remember correctly. It does give that kind of sports anime, level up, special techniques, experts, mentors, rivals. It does things that you find in shonen and in sports, and it plugs it into this story in a way that's like not super heavy-handed. It doesn't feel like every chapter is about like rakugo power scaling, but it does have just enough of that it reminds you you're reading manga, and it makes it fun and cool. And I love the characters. I love the artwork. It's just one of those series that kind of feels like it's a labor of love. Like they go into every chapter. It's a writer and an artist, and it feels like they go into every chapter like just full of intention. It feels like every chapter is fresh out of the oven and like they're like smiling while they give it to you. Dude, I love Akane-Banashi. I am reading week to week now. I am in the painful and sad place of being caught up, but I have an anime to look forward to. I have new chapters every week to look forward to, and I'm glad I gave it a shot. Banger story, banger art, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. I'm so hyped on this series, and if you're not going to read it, at least be excited for the anime. Dude, just thinking about Tower Dungeon right now, so sick, so good. Holy shit, Tower Dungeon is awesome. I think it's only 25-ish chapters right now, so there's not a lot of content out there waiting for you, but what is out there is fascinating and cool and stylish and nostalgic in a strange way. It kind of speaks a little bit of the same language as like really old school like RPGs, JRPGs. It has dark fantasy things that I remember seeing in 90s anime. It's just weird and kind of creepy, but it has a lot of heart and passion behind it. And the art style is, I guess technically speaking, it's not the most like high line count, high shading, ultra detailed kind of manga. It's not that, but it might have my favorite art out of all the manga I'm going to talk about today. And that owes largely to its sense of aesthetic and its sense of style. Like the character art and the character designs, they're almost like fashion shots. Like they have really exaggerated silhouettes, like chunky armor, skinny limbs, skinny necks, a lot of like decorative elements, like an extra little thing in a helmet or an extra little thing like on the handle of a sword. It's all very intentional and very cool. For me, I like when things are a little bit strange, a little bit niche, and kind of really trying to go their own way. And that's what Tower Dungeon does. I've become fascinated by this grimy, uncomfortable, but dazzling in a strange way kind of adventure that we're on. And I have no idea where this story is going to go. And also just to point out, I never read Blom. I never read the mangaka's other works, but this is a very famous mangaka who's super respected. And it feels like he's doing something that's a lot closer to a kind of stream of consciousness. It doesn't feel like he has like a wall behind him of story elements and storyboards and like years and years of planning. This feels like a manga where he can just sit down with a fresh headspace and just sketch and write and be free. Like there's something very free about Tower Dungeon where you just get to do cool shit, interesting art style, really aggressive lighting contrast, like really simple artwork with like dark black accents, white accents. You don't have to shade everything. It's like everything's either pitch black or like glowing with light. And there's just so many interesting aspects to this manga. Some of the creatures and like non-human characters are insane looking. And again, there's a hint of nostalgia in there. I don't know if it's JRPGs. I don't know if it's old fantasy content that I used to be into, but there's something that feels vintage in a strange way about Tower Dungeon. And I love it. Absolutely love it. So literally 2 hours ago, I was in the middle of Manhattan, outside of a bookstore called Kinokuniya Books. And Love Bullet is a manga that was on the verge of being dropped by the publisher several times, just because it wasn't selling super well. It had a very small but very passionate fan base, but it just couldn't get things going. And it's hard for every manga, even if they're great, to have success in Japan. It's just a cutthroat industry. And the reason I'm bringing up the fact I was in Manhattan 2 hours ago is outside of the storefront window, one of the biggest and most expensive, just in terms of property tax, bookstores, places to access manga, they have devoted their entire front window to Love Bullet. And I think that's remarkable. That's like a Christmas miracle for the mangaka. I'm sure she never thought, or maybe she did think that that could happen, but it was looking bad for this manga for a while. And that's actually how I know about Love Bullet, because YouTube clickbait works on me sometimes. And I saw some creators that were like, hey, there's this crazy, ridiculous funny manga about cupids who have to use weapons to make people fall in love. And it's a struggling series, but it's the best thing ever, so we should all go support it. And I decided to give the manga a shot, and I feel like it's great. It's obviously great. The art style is super clean, thin lines, very detailed. It reminds me of when I was learning how to draw when I was very young, and I had like a Marvel Comics like technical book on how to draw comics in that style. I would have to draw these elaborate kind of stick figure models with all this line work just to have figures, and then you would go over with an ink pen and actually draw your character designs over it, and it would take me so long just to get like a hand holding a weapon the right way or a shoulder turning the right way. And dude, Ine, this mangaka who makes Love Bullet, she has a way to like make things feel clean and crispy and fun, but the artwork is so precise and technically perfect that like sometimes I just look at the panels and I just smile. Like it's great. Her characters are ridiculous. There's a little bit of brain rot that I like. I never expected myself to be the kind of person who would read manga where just like kind of derpy girls just kind of clown around, but Girls Last Tour, Shimeji Simulation, those are my favorites of all time. So I guess there's some ingredients in those kind of manga that really work on me. Love Bullet's no exception. But I will say, though, that especially in recent chapters, the depth and the mystery behind Love Bullet has been climbing and climbing and climbing. I didn't think it'd be a series that would have mystery elements, but they've been creeping in a lot, especially in recent chapters. So I'm here for the story. I believe in the story. I think it's solid on its own. But just the playful nature and the character designs are just ultra charming to me. And again, seeing a manga that was at one point struggling, now like in the middle of Manhattan, just kind of glowing. I mean, there was thousands and thousands of people in the city piling in and out of the trains, piling in and out of stores. It was actually hard to walk around that part of the city. And the fact that they were all looking at like huge glossy window art of Love Bullet is the most insane timeline to live in. But shout outs to an A. What a manga. It's great. It's dumb. It's brilliant. It's the best. So in this world, somewhere out there, there's a manga. It has 3 volumes, and no one's heard of it. No one talks about it. No one knows about it. And even its name is kind of up for debate. I've seen it listed as skalighty, which is kind of like a Japanese attempt at a kind of foreign-sounding word. But I think the better title for it is just the romanization sukaraiti. That's how I've seen it listed a lot. But regardless of what we're calling it, it's a manga that kind of feels like something you would see at a amateur or like doujinshi manga convention or expo. I like stuff like that. I like stuff like that a lot. And I'm not always good at keeping up with what's happening in the shadows. But Skalighty is a manga that is quite sensitive and gorgeous and has layers of kind of tragedy and loneliness in it without being too direct and in your face. And the art style is beautiful. The art style is fantastic. It uses slightly moe character designs, like big circle head characters, but there's a certain flow to the art style, and when it's time to bring in some detail, especially in backgrounds, it's quite like it takes your breath away. It really is a manga that takes your breath away with its unique vision. And this is a manga I don't really want to talk a lot about, but I found it beautiful. It speaks to me in a way that a lot of things don't, and it was very special to me. And I want to buy it. It's hard to get. You have to like find Japanese sellers and import it in. And it's going to be expensive because of shipping, but I want to collect it. It's one of the few manga that I actually just want to collect and have physically. I found this series to have some just spectacular moments of not needing a ton of dialogue. Just you turn a few pages, or you progress a few pages, and then the characters just kind of stop talking and it just starts to tell its story with art. And it's just like gorgeous. It's so good. So I'm going to leave Skalighty there. It's an odd one. It's a hidden gem. It's a hidden gem. But if you're here for it, you're here for it. Try it. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this little quartet of manga that made 2025 a better year for me by a long shot. Amazing series for very different reasons. But I'm also reading other stuff. I watched season 1 of The Promised Neverland. I thought it was an amazing anime. I watched it a few years ago, and I've been chipping away at chapters, getting further than the manga. I think I'm around chapter 70 right now. So that's one I definitely want to like put my foot on the gas and finish. On a weekly basis, I've been reading Chainsaw Man for years now. Part 2 has been nuts. It's been fantastic. I am not a person who puts Fujimoto on a pedestal, but I love how scatterbrained and nuts his stories are, and not all the lore and the complexity always ends up fitting together like a puzzle. Sometimes things are just brought up and disappear. But I also might not be the best Chainsaw Man fan. There might be like hidden nuance that I'm missing. But regardless of that, I love his gritty aesthetic and his scatterbrained approach, and you never know what's going to happen every chapter. I'm also getting back into Call of the Night, just because I think the art style is so cool. I love the way the characters look, and I like that kind of mood and atmosphere, and that's a manga that I had fun reading, but I didn't want to go further than season 2 when I found out season 2 was coming out. But who knows if Call of the Night's ever going to get a season 3, so that's an easy one for me to jump back into. In terms of light novels, that's a completely different category. That's where I really have to twist my arm and make my brain stop being dysfunctional and learn how to pay attention, be quiet, read words, and do it. But I'm reading The Apothecary Diaries. I'm not going to catch up to the anime, and I'm certainly not going to surpass the anime, but that's been a fun one to jump into. I've been thinking about reading Mushoku Tensei just for the lore drops and to kind of know a bit more about the world, but we'll see if I have time, motivation, or energy. But that's going to be it for this 2025 manga recap. Thank you for watching. Thank you for existing in this moment. That's all we can do.